Hey there, folks. It's me, Chris, with a Gig Man's Life. Yeah, baby, it's a Gig Man's Life indeed. And, hey, folks, we're always out here watching the news, checking out viral videos on all the platforms and see what affects us out here in the gig economy. Because we're going to call out bad behaviors from others, especially when it's going to affect what's going into our pockets. And one of the biggest ones that for us who are creators is Don Lemon's arrest for violating people's civil liberties. And it's rather rich that it's a law made for the Ku Klux Klan and hate groups that want to go and violate people's rights. And people going into a house of worship and harassing individuals is totally wrong. But we're not talking about that today. What we're really talking about is Doordash Girl. Yeah, Olivia Hendersaka. I hope I get that name right. And, her case being moved from district to superior court. I've talked about this before. It is still just as simple as the fact that she did not accept a plea deal. That's why it got moved to superior court. To go and see that she was not convinced to take the plea deal means that her public defender sees this possibly as a way of getting out of the public defender's office. And that this is one of those things that turns into being, hey, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. Or let's just go and get into it. A lot of people in the public defender's office might be doing it pro bono because they are criminal defense lawyers. And just like any other, I got a ticket to ride, like doctors, lawyers, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, people who take those tests to become a member of society that has a job, has insurances to go and do the work. That's what they are. And I want to go and say this clearly. If this storm door is the only thing she opened, even police would go and say that would be plain sight doctrine, and they would have walked in. She didn't walk in. This video didn't show her walking in. It showed her dropping off. It showed her showing the situation and documenting it. Now, what would have been better is that she whipped out another phone, called up the cops at the time, and addressed the situation. I bet you 5 out of 10, the second that he heard on a speakerphone, and we heard on the video, 911, what's your emergency? And her going, I am delivering DoorDash. There's a gentleman passed out on his couch with his doors wide open, with his pants halfway down. I don't know what to do. Tell me that would be a whole different story if he jumped up suddenly and closed the door. Basically acknowledging that, yes, he was doing something wrong. But that's neither here nor there. And without the other videos, which, there's a Ring camera catching this whole situation. That she opened the door, she went in. We don't see that. We know it's evidence. So it's Schroeder's cat. It exists, but doesn't exist in the quantum state. Yes, I'll use big words. I'll also use cursey words. Especially when we got people like this where the video that this came off of was talking about how her nightmare, Doordash Girl's nightmare, is just beginning with the criminal charges and everything else. But, I hope she is going to pay appropriately and adequately. However, she will probably be charged with a misdemeanor and no jail time. She has not watched the video, not paid attention to anything else but what this talking head probably said. She is a sociopath demanding attention and fame. At the same time, you commenting on it. Wonder if there could be sexting charge in light of putting photos on TikTok. It was full-blown video. So this is a person who's not paying attention to the whole thing, making comments, your usual person on social media, doing the hate hour, because George Orwell was not talking about a place we all gather as a physical location. We're gathering in a virtual location, spewing shit at a screen. Hello. Then her behavior is disgusting on so many levels and also criminal. This is my comment to this whole shit. This is more reflection on our society than anything else. More concerned about the viral video than humanity. DoorDash still more at fault for not training drivers other than delivering booze. Pay a driver 2 hours for training that people have to answer questions on. That's called quantified training. That is making sure people understand what they are being shown on videos was proven to go and be clear enough that somebody is, being held responsible for their own actions. But then we get people like Myth Universe and talking back to me. No, you are what's wrong with society. Are you off your head? It's a daughter's fault that this chick is some desperate attention-seeking muppet. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to get things started on the Muppet Show tonight. Yeah, whoever's talking with a hand up their ass, they're definitely the one who's doing it with this long diatribe, which has no punctuation. That will do anything for a bit of attention, chasing some cloud. Are you meaning clout there, laddie? Or missy? Or itsy, bitsy, teeny weeny, yellow polka dot bikini? And it's quite happy to destroy a complete innocent stranger's life just for a little chance to play the victim. Okay. Looking at this situation, if all it was the storm door opened, that this individual was hiding their face and making sure of situations like that, I really question, why was your pants down? You ordered food. Were you drugged up? Or is that the only female attention you can get? Either way, this does not look like a situation that a lot of people are going to go and say is anywhere right in the head. The fact that she didn't go and whip out another phone, which would have been helpful. This is why I always tell you, have more than one phone on you on a different network. She should have gotten right on the phone, called 911, put it on speaker, and see what happens. And it possibly would have been the other thing, but then still, that is putting her in a danger. calling 911 would have still been better. The least that could possibly happen, the guy woke up, realizing the situation, pulled up his pants, ran to the door, and closed the door. Or ran out of the room, waiting for the person to leave. Because anything else, we're still speculating. She did not try to go and address the situation. There's always a whole bunch of other videos and some AI shittery that they're going, oh, this is the original video, as you know, you can still see the text from her video. But let's continue with Mr. Mrs. or Itsy Bitsy's comment back to me. Wow, you wonder how things like this happen because people like you, two peas in a pod. Where am I saying about anything except facts? You know, a little training could have prevented this. I'm not saying that she's not at fault, you moron. Just an innocent victim in the world. It's not you. It's society. It's companies. Well, when society makes it all about getting that video. And this is what really gets me. Proving ridiculous how it's anybody's fault except for the wanker. Are you in England? You from a British colony? Who's so desperate for 5 minutes of TikTok fame that she would go to such extreme measures. The rest of her videos, which are, pretty much shitty, pretty much putting herself at fault for a lot of charges, the evidence that's going to be used against her. The 5 minutes of TikTok fame that she would go to such extremes, measures, callous, cruel, and now tiny taste of karma, having to face the consequences of reactions for the first time ever. A little bit of accountability, and then there's people at you. It's not her fault. Seriously, crawl back under the rock you came out from. That is the best suggestion you can do. Because I don't know how you're taking. This is more reflects on society than anything else. And yes, even in your whole thing, that chasing 5 minutes of TikTok fame. That's society. If you're not realizing that this is one of the most favorite things that are out there, is the fact that, this is hate hour out here in social media. And this is just the general proof that somebody can't even have a realistic conversation. That they go on to the whole diatribe situation. And, it is what it is, folks. People storming churches, but also people doing this. We're in plain sight doctrine. A police officer walked up and saw that. They'd walk in and check up on the dude. Hello? They would have been very clear from even the doorway. And as what the plain sight doctrine is that there's many examples of it in television, in film, that when an individual is committing crimes and they're doing it inside a domicile where there is a large window that anybody who freely can walk up to the window and see the crime being committed, the police officers do have the right to go and check the immediate area of the crime being committed. Lethal Weapon had that moment where, oh, go up to the main house through, and you have the two main characters walking up, seeing two pretty girls grooming the ski slopes, building a snowman, making mounds out of molehills from the Peruvian marching powder. You know, those are those moments of going, yeah, we have questions about this situation more than anything else. And yes, can go and call the police and start an investigation and everything else. But in plain sight doctrine, seeing this, a police officer would definitely question the situation. She should have just stuck with not posting this at all. It wouldn't even be a question. But now that we have this and we have this situation to talk about it, yes, 2 hours of training would have been a lot more helpful to DoorDash and the gig economy. Then now they're going to pay out, because that separate case that's going to happen, that these idiots who don't understand how the world works, yes, there's going to be another case after she's convicted, because really in this whole thing, she needs to be convicted. And there's enough of a case that a person who's in the public defender's office is taking it seriously enough to work on it, because this might be their way out of it. Or they've been working the business. Lawyers, like doctors, like everybody else who has a ticket to ride their employment, you know, they have to volunteer at times. And then sometimes they made their money and they feel like they have to help out the small dude, you know. And also there's pro bono work in a lot of states that people have to do. They have to do it at cost to minimize their taxes and to meet up with civil obligations that their profession has. And it's great for the tax write-offs. But I'm not a tax expert, you know, always double check with everybody about doing things. But at the end of this is still where, you know, this shows a lot of people trying to prove a bigger point, which they are proving clearly. They don't watch the videos. They're more taking an opinion from a talking head. I always suggest, please check out the videos, check out what's going on, and see for yourself. There's nothing that is going to hurt you by actually going and seeing the whole situation and making up your own fucking mind. So, yes, I just love that comment, that whole diatribe from somebody who's obviously an idiot, not realizing you're the one who's blaming society and everything. Am I saying she has a free skate on this because of her posting on TikTok? No. I believe, yes, that's the one crime that she definitely committed. And I don't think she's going to get off very easily. But she's not seeing the other civil liability, because TikTok is a platform. They're not going to sue TikTok. They're going to sue DoorDash. They're going to sue her. She was working for DoorDash. He hired DoorDash to have that delivery made. He didn't expect to go and have a video put out there for millions of people to go and watch. So when we are talking about situations like this, there is a lack of training. I do know. I work these apps. and without harassment training, without being quantified that this person went through the training every year that they've been working. And at 23, and if this person's been working more than 1 year, you should be re-upping that training like they did to me every year doing corporate security, doing IT security as a contractor. Yes, 2 hours of training. And it's even more fun when those companies don't hire you unless you have the first company's training and then want you to go through their company's training. So when somebody wants to go and say, I'm the problem with society, no. Society is really fucked up because people are more. Other countries, children are wanting to be doctors, engineers, lawyers, electricians, pipe fitters. Our country, let's be an influencer. And I'm at 50 years old, okay? I've worked 10 years of corporate security, 10 years of IT security, and multiple years of shit jobs. And I will tell you, there's always training. There's always something for these companies to cover their ass. And I will tell you that, yes, there's 2 separate cases. They're waiting for the criminal case to get done before the civil case is started against Doordash and her. And that's going to be thrown under the rug. They will settle it out. She's not going to see any financial liability from that. And Doordash doesn't want to open up those cans of worms because I'm pretty much sure there is a Pinto memo out there with these companies saying that it is more cost efficient to go and address the issue by paying it out than going and making sure everybody's paid and trained so we have it documented that these people understand what is expected of you as a driver, not by going and saying, oh, it's a policy update. Click on this and agree or not make money. Without reading it, boom, I'm going to agree to anything. No video, nothing to go and really address the issue and having some training on it. Nah, I'm not going to go and do that because it's easier for me just to go and hand out pennies to a person on a lawsuit. So if you're watching this myth universe, yes, I have a little bit more time vested in watching these videos than you do. And a little bit more concerned about how this affects our society. So, as you would like to go and make those comments about wankers and shit, well, you have a good day and learn more about the language you're using and use some punctuation. Because your continuous run-on sentences are hard to read and it's clout, not cloud.